and welcome to the first episode of the Quotes and Mirrors podcast. I am Tyrell James.
And I am Uncommonterry. I'm gonna let him be the co-host. I'm the host. I'm the host. I'm the host. Tell us what the show about, man.
The show Quotes and Mirrors. What we're going to do is we're going to be talking about quotes. I think when I came up with the idea for the show, it was because I was just kind of I think I was listening to Jay-Z. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how many quotes come from Jay-Z.
Okay.
You know, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with Throwback, and he was saying, that there is a Jay-Z quote for anything.
The people don't know
And
who Throwback is.
I was talking to you when I said that. They be all right. He'll be on the show.
I got you.
He'll be on the show eventually. So we, they'll know who he is.
Right.
But
we'll throw back to this episode.
yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
All right.
So I was just thinking about that. I said, man, I wanna do a show where we just break down quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Break down quotes. So then, that's when I talked to you about it, because I was like, you're the perfect person to do that. Especially as many quotes have been between me and you over the years.
Right. Yeah, it's give and take all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, we spent all of, what was that, 98 quoting DMX.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you. I had to reach past my DMX CD to get the Bible. You know what I mean? So,
right.
For real. Rest in peace, DMX. You know what I mean?
Right. Rest in peace.
Yo,
man.
for real.
So what we're going to do is we're going to break down, we're going to come up with quotes, then we're going to break down the meanings of them, but from, of course, our perspectives.
Right.
And I guess we can go into what the original author, what they intended by that meaning, and then we can go into what it means for us.
Now, if we know the intended author,
if we know,
because some of them are going to be original quotes.
Right.
Many of them are going to be just things that we've heard in passing. And, we say quotes, but truth be told, there's a lot of it's going to be gems, that we've been giving one another, or stuff that's been given to us, fathers, friends, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we might not always know the original author of the quote, you know what I mean? But we can still derive what the meaning coming from it, what's meant to be universally understood, and then of course, personally what we think about it. You know what I mean?
So, right. And sometimes we will be the authors of the quotes. We're going to use our own quotes too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not always gonna like those, and we're not always gonna care. So
nah.
Yeah.
So since this first quote was from you, I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one.
Okay, so if they watch this, they can see. Can they see the quote going scrolling across the bottom?
I sure hope so.
I hope so too.
I'm playing. They can see it.
Okay, so for y'all listeners, if you hadn't noticed, this is not just the first episode of this show. This is the first time I've been on the podcast, so I got questions. All right, I got questions. So, but we do have the quote for today's show. First episode of Quotes and Mirrors is: "This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you." Now, honestly, when you asked me about a quote, that was the first thing that came to mind. And I don't know what the original quote is from. I would imagine you could throw this on a shirt and put dash Black Mama, and or Black Parent. That parent, I don't know that other races definitely use it, but I know that my father has definitely said it, once or twice. But the thing about it, right? I think that these are the words of a reasonable individual, right? So this isn't, most of the time, this is in reference to chastisement, getting a spanking, getting a whooping, however you want to phrase it, right? But I feel like if a cat has the wherewithal to pause and say, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you, in a genuine, actual manner, because for some people, this is a threat. For some people, this is a threat. They really mean to say, this ain't going to hurt me at all. I'm about to wear you out. You know what I'm saying? But when it was said to me, I got that this isn't really the route I want to take. You know what I mean? You're gonna feel the physical pain, but it's an emotional thing for me.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I've ever necessarily quoted this to my children, but I've definitely felt it because, like I say, I think this comes from a mind of reason. Like you're not just fed up and popping off, right? You take the time to say this, you let them know this is, like I say, this ain't really where I want to go. This is gonna do, emotionally, I'm not trying to hurt you, but you're taking me to a place where I don't have your attention. My words are not effective anymore. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to take action, and it ain't really where I want to go. I don't want to. I don't want you to be afraid of me. You know what I mean, for things like this, and actually that's what it could produce. You could go ahead and instill some fear, and now the relationship between yourself and your child is fractured, and it's hurting you. It's definitely hurting you more than it's physically hurting them at the moment, because that physical pain is basically temporary in the moment. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
In 20, 30 minutes, they're gonna remember the incident, but they're not gonna feel the same pain. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, that's what I mean. Like, because I don't, I'm an advocate for spanking your child, but not every time they do something, right? And I'm definitely not an advocate of you doing it as a result of your anger boiling over. You know what I mean? Because that's when you get to abusing a child. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? But I like to do it just enough so they know it ain't off the table. Like like this could still go down. Maybe I should go ahead and pump my brakes a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But me from my father's perspective, I would genuinely mean this, that this is gonna hurt me more, excuse me, than it hurts you. In reference to the physical versus the emotional pain, because that's not where I want things to go. I want us to be able to just talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to be able to talk. So that's my perspective on it. What do you think about that?
From a parent's perspective, I agree with you. You know, that emotional pain lasts a whole lot longer than the emotional pain for me lasts a whole lot longer than the physical pain for my kid. But I am probably on the other side of the spanking thing. Um, I I did spank Terrell when he was younger. I can count on one hand how many times I did it
Mm-hmm.
because it hurt too much. And then I tried to find another way to just communicate with him.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing is, just a good kid. Really
Mm-hmm.
didn't have issues out of him like that. But
Right,
I was
right.
able to just sitting down and just having conversations with him seemed to be more it seemed to be more effective. And it got to the point where it hurt him more for me to say, "I'm disappointed in you,"
Mm-hmm.
than to spank him. So I would and so which worked for me because that whole spanking thing, man, like I wouldn't cry, but I would want to.
Mm-hmm.
And but every time there was any type of disciplinary action, whether it was one of those conversations or it was one, or if it was spanking, one of those 4 or 5 times that it happened,
Mm-hmm.
it ended with a hug, a kiss. Daddy didn't want to do that to you. This
Mm-hmm.
definitely hurts me a
Yeah.
whole lot more than it hurts you, because the thing is that that physical pain that you were feeling is now gone.
Right.
This emotional pain that I'm dealing with, it's still here. It's still here. It hurts a whole lot more. But what I wanted to, well, I started thinking about um, looking at this from a different perspective. Well, let me
Mm-hmm.
say, let's change the scenario. Not
Okay.
just
I was I was thinking about the same thing.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So because we normally attribute this particular quote to parent and children.
Right.
But what about an intimate relationship?
Now, okay, so that changes the setting, but what's the circumstance? You know what I
Um,
mean? Under what
leaving the person.
circumstances? Under what so you think you got to be specific. Give me a circumstance where we gonna break up, and me saying to you, "This is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you," is an applicable statement? Like, is that just a out because you're trying to go ahead and kind of finesse the situation so that you can ease off, and so it's an actual breaking versus a tearing, or what?
It could be that, or it could be the truth. It could be, I know I ain't crap. And I know that you deserve a whole lot better. And eventually, in the long run, I'm the one that's going to end up hurting more because I'm
Really?
losing probably one of the best things that's happening to me. Somebody else is going to get an amazing woman. I'm going to leave out, but I know that you deserve better than me. So
just hypothetically, if you were talking to your wife, because your voice cracked and real emotion came through. I heard it. I heard it. For a second, you entertained the possibility, the dire situation of that occurring, and you couldn't hold it. That
that
was
was
funny. That was funny,
that
and
was fear.
I feel it. I feel it because my wife is not the type of woman you see in the rearview mirror either. You know what I mean? So, so I'm glad you did it before I did. I'm sorry, my fault. Didn't mean to cut you off though.
No, you good, you good. But no, but that's the scenario. I mean, like, it could be one of them things where, and honestly, to the
Mhm.
dude that does that, I salute you. You're a stand-up
Mm.
guy because you're letting her go. You're letting her go. You know that she deserves better than what you can offer, and you're letting her go to find something that's that she deserves.
Now,
Um,
I mean, but that being said, aren't you kind of coming to a shameful resolve? Because if you feel like you got to say that to let it go versus elevating your own game versus doing an internal check and revamping your own character, you saying, aren't you saying to some degree, I'm incapable of that? You know what I'm
Not
saying? Like,
necessarily. I'm just not ready.
okay, okay, okay. Nice light skin perspective. That's what's up. Okay, okay,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
he just the guy just may not be ready yet,
That
and
that may be it.
but I think for him to recognize that and to let her go, it shows that probably further down the line he
Mhm.
will get himself together because he does. I think that guy has his head on straight,
I mean, well, you
and he's being honest, and that's all women ever want you to do is be honest with them.
that's true. That's true. They want the honesty. They can't always take the truth. They
Hmm.
can't always, but and I won't say them, just them. Anybody.
Right.
You want the honesty, but you not be always able to take the truth, which actually kind of goes into another situation when it comes to telling the truth. is it I'm trying to think of a scenario where it would hurt me more to tell the truth than it would hurt you to hear it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think
Hmm.
under what circumstance would that
Where it hurts me
occur?
more to tell the truth than it hurts you to hear it.
Yeah, like under what circumstance would that actually occur? And then
And you
also,
mean you mean in an intimate relationship setting
well, in
or
any
just period?
situation, because you could just be um like what I think about is in reference to the children.
Hmm.
Um, it might hurt me more to have to tell you that I can't provide a certain thing, like daddy can't afford school for you.
Hmm.
I feel like that would hurt me more because I'm looking at, you
Right.
17, 18 years old. I had all this time to prepare and I didn't prepare. All right. So I'm thinking to myself, coming to that realization that I didn't provide for you, it's definitely hurting me more to say so than it's hurting for you to hear it. But even, you know what, in that statement, isn't a little bit like, it's a little presumptuous. It's a lot presumptuous for you to, it's actually even selfish to some degree to say that your pain is going to be more severe than the person that you're speaking to, right?
I mean,
I mean, how are
I don't
you,
know.
when we think, now I'm thinking, how are we really gauging that? How are we
Well,
really gauging that?
if you know the person, you know how things affect them, and you know yourself, and you know how things affect you, then I think you can get a pretty good gauge of how everyone is going to be affected in that situation,
Well, I
especially if you're
mean,
talking about your children.
well, I think that you can definitely determine whether or not pain is going to be felt, but the degree of pain in comparison, and one being of a greater severity than the other, is that really like is it would you really even argue that, right? Because if you say that and they come, they rebut and say, I don't think it is. You don't understand, what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through, because you know the person, you're familiar, but you're not the person. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I guess I didn't really think about it like that. It makes me never want to use this statement. Be honest with you, and it also makes me select a particular finger for an individual that uses it speaking to me. Um, it just kind of that's what it does for me. I mean, as we're talking about it and we're breaking it down, moving it from scenario to scenario, it's wow. I guess I didn't really think about it like that, but it's a little arrogant. You don't think?
I don't think it's necessarily arrogant. I think it can be. I see where you're going with this, and I think it can
Mm-hmm.
be. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think it can be. But I think that when a person says that, they're coming from a perspective of knowing who they're dealing with. Like, I know that this is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. Like when you're talking to your kid and you got to spank them, I
Mm-hmm.
know this is going to hurt me. What did I say that wrong the first? I don't know. I think I twisted it. Anyway, I know
I'm
this is going
sorry.
to hurt me more than
Mm-hmm.
it hurts you. I know
Right.
it's going. Because the thing is this: you're my child. I'm gonna spank you, and or discipline you, whatever. And once this discipline is over,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to, especially when we're talking about fathers like us, because we are incredible fathers.
That's what's up.
So,
I appreciate that.
well, hey, listen. You are one of the. We are sidebar real quick. You
Okay.
one of the. You at the top of the list. Other. Behind my daddy as far as the men that I watched.
You ain't gonna make
To
me cry. You ain't gonna make me cry.
just
You ain't
don't
gonna make
cry
me
then.
cry.
Just don't cry.
You gonna make. I feel like this is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. Well,
But
no, no, no.
see, that's why I got to be careful with sidebars because I forget where I was going.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it
My
ain't your
bad.
fault, man. It's my memory. My memory sucks. Um, but oh man, where was I going with that?
You were saying I was a great father. Go on.
um, man, I don't remember what I was saying.
Well, you
I
were
don't
saying.
remember.
I think you were speaking specifically in reference to the father and child relationship. You were speaking to knowing you make this statement when you're familiar with the other person and you understand that they are gonna feel some pain, but you're still standing on the fact that it's gonna hurt me more. I was saying that isn't that a little arrogant? You know what I mean? To,
Mhm.
to, to think that way, and I still think it is because you're making the comparison of your pain to theirs, and I mean you can make some. It's all speculation from you to them. You know what I mean? From
Mhm.
when you talking about yourself and how you're gonna deal with it. Like, is it really? Come on, man. Is it really even fair for me to say? Like, what is the point in the comparison? Am I supposed to be? Is it supposed to be some consolation to you that even though you're going to feel pain, that my pain is going to be worse? Am I asking you then to feel for me as I inflict this pain on you? How selfish is that?
Well, I don't think you're asking the person to feel for you. I think you're asking them to understand that I'm doing this for a reason. And I understand that the reason is going to hurt you, but understand that the reason is going to hurt me more than it hurts you, because the reason is bigger than the pain that we both are going to feel.
What reason? The reason
Whatever
that
the
you're
reason.
actually, the reason that you are administering the action that's going to cause the pain.
Yeah,
You're saying that
yeah,
that's bigger than the pain that either one of us are going to feel.
right. Because there is a lesson here. There is a
So,
lesson that needs to be learned. So since there is a lesson, the pain is going to have to be secondary to the lesson
but for who?
for the person that's feeling the least amount of pain. because
Okay,
because
so
because the lesson is coming from the person who's going to feel the most pain.
okay, so all right, so now this makes me think of a scenario like when I was young. There's a nerve or something. It's a nerve in your shoulder blade, and my father used to touch that nerve. He used to just put his hand on it, and he would tell me to be still. And as long as you're still, you don't feel anything. But when you move, he's not moving. He just got you pinched. He just got a pinch on that nerve. When you move, then you feel pain.
That's because your
And he,
father's a ninja.
well, the thing is, when he would let me know in that situation is, listen to me, because what you're feeling right now is the pain of disobedience, because I told you not to move. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
in that situation, so it makes me think about the pain versus the lesson in that situation. But I guess I'm trying to get to where we can isolate the lesson so that the pain is secondary. You know what I mean? Because specifically from a parent to a child, um, I don't know that this would be a valid statement. Excuse me. Mm, I guess you're supposed to say excuse me after you belch. But anyway, I don't know that I don't know that this would be a valid statement from parent to child, because the child is going to be 100% if you give them the option of learning the lesson through, all right, let's get a book, let's write something down, let's talk about it. If you give them that option versus you pulling out that strap, whoa, by strap I mean belt, all right, I mean, not, I don't mean how 50 means strap, I mean belt, all right. So you pull that out, then they would much rather sit and talk about it. Right up until the point of contact. If they had the option of choosing a conversation, they would much rather learn that lesson. So in that situation, when it's decided that you're going to execute, the reason that you have to tell them that this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you, is because you know that they're focused on the pain, right? You know that they're focused on the pain. The lesson, if they get the lesson, it's still gonna you're still gonna have to have the conversation, because like you said after the fact, where, and I do it too, as a habit, right? Because first of all, you don't spank your children while you're angry, and we'll get away from this scenario as well. But first, you don't spank them while you're angry, definitely as a result of your anger, right? And after the fact, you do have to hug them up and let them know that I love you. You got to let them know that instant that just occurred, that there wasn't a switch that flipped, and now I'm only that person, right? You got to let them know that that is not going to be a primary source of your pain, right? So you got to bring them in and you got to love them, but you know that you have to console them after the fact, because that lesson is not on the forefront. What they know is that pain. And matter of fact, you know how we know that lesson is not on the forefront? Because people don't speak about the benefit of their spankings until they are adults. They 25, 30 years old, standing on stage as comedians talking about how their mom spanked them, and now I'm here. And I appreciate my mom for doing what she had to do. They always, of course, she made some mistakes, yeah, but it isn't until then that they really get that lesson. As a child, well, I don't know if you got many spankings as a child,
Not
right?
really.
See,
Not a
I
lot.
got, yeah, I didn't get a whole lot. I watched my sister and I paid attention. So there was a lot of stuff that I learned not to do. You know what I'm saying? but but I remember getting spankings. I remember my father had a red belt, and that red belt sat on the hanger all by itself. And you go into the room, and you sit on the edge of that water bed, and the last thing you wanted him to do was open that closet and see that red belt just singing and sitting in there. Ain't no wind in the closet. Why is it swaying? Why is it? I don't understand. Why is it swaying? Ain't no wind. But he get that belt, and he tell you, this is why I got to do this, son. But I only remember, I don't really remember, let me say, him making this statement. And so now, as you know, since we busted open and I'm thinking about it, like, I don't think this is in reference to parent to child. I don't think this is a good thing to say to your child. I don't think it's a fair statement. I think that it basically speaks more to you wanting to be consoled and to be considered for what you have to do versus that, you know, them and for what they have to endure. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I want to address two things. One,
Okay.
let's go back to like when you used the example of the comedians, and them learning things later on in life.
Hmm.
It's not that it didn't resonate with the child. Some lessons are seeds, and it takes living and experiencing things. Those that's where the water comes in. Sometimes I understand, like for instance, when I'm talking to Terrell, when I'm talking to my son, um, and I'm giving him certain lessons. I
Hmm.
know he's not going to get the lesson right now. I know
Hmm.
that this is just a seed right now, and he has to continue living life, and the things that he experiences in life that will serve as the water to those
Okay.
seeds. And then
Okay.
when he gets 25 or whatever, he'll look back and be like, I get it now. I understand now. So um, sometimes the lesson isn't necessarily for right now,
Yeah, but the pain is going to be right now.
right? But the pain is going to be right now and that long. The lesson is going to last forever.
Well, I mean, once it kick in,
Right. Once it kicks
yeah,
in.
once once it kick in, and then chances are you're going to recycle that same situation, or they're going to recycle that same situation with their child, just as I
Right.
have, you know,
Hmm.
with mine. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I get the optimism, right, and I get the long term goal, but I still don't see, you know, only as we're unpacking it, because I think prior to this conversation, I definitely saw the sensibility in saying this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. But that, like, I think that can be internalized. I think I can simply accept that this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt them.
Hmm.
Excuse me, as I decide that I do still have to do it, right?
Hmm.
Because, and not just in the situation of spanking, like you said, if you actually, or like I was saying, still in reference to parent versus the child, not versus, but the parent-child relationship, you having to admit a shortcoming on your end that produces lack for them. That's horrible, man. I've had to do it. I wasn't prepared for my older children to go to college. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's horrible. When you got to tell them and they looking at you like, "Hey, what a college fund," and I'm like, "You're entitled," and frankly, I don't want to have this conversation with you, right? And you get defensive, right? But the truth is, I think in this situation, I think that this statement can be altered to say not necessarily that it's going to hurt me more than it hurts you.
Hmm.
It's going to hurt me first because I had to make the decision to execute. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then,
So
you
you're saying
know,
it's going to hurt me first, but it's going to hurt you worse?
mm, um, in the moment, I think that's true. Yeah,
Got you. Oh,
yeah.
you know what? Hold on. Before we go further, remember I said there were two things I wanted to address. So I said the one thing.
My
The
bad.
other, no, no, you good, you good. The other thing is, um, I just want to say this before we get too far away from it.
Okay.
Um, what outfit was your father wearing with a red belt?
So what I need you to know is that that red belt was purchased with a purpose. Okay.
Got you. Okay.
I've never seen him wear that red belt. As a matter of fact, the only time that red belt wrapped around anybody was when my sister acted a fool. And that's when he learned to catch her in midair because he would throw that hand back. She would throw her hand flat against her behind. Yo, she had the toughest hand you ever wanted to see, son. But then he would swing and she would jump. You know what I'm saying? So he had to learn how to hit her with the pump fake and then catch her midair. You know what I mean? But just to believe, that red belt didn't go with any particular outfit. And should you try to sideswipe and talk about my father again, I think we're gonna have a problem, and I'm gonna need to go ahead and Google my own red belt. All right, just so you know. All right, okay.
Listen, I just wanted to know what he was wearing with that red belt. And I'd also
Mhm.
like to point out the fact that um them spankings for your sister, it didn't work. I don't think she got the lesson.
Okay, but I mean, the seed was planted, and then I want to be hopeful that the seed was planted, but she has gotten better. Okay, she has
The
gotten
tree
better.
died, man. The tree died. All right.
No,
The
I love
tree
my
died.
sister. I love her with all my heart. She
I do
is
too. I love her to
she
death.
is she is a better person as a result of the many trials that she has endured, to include the spankings. And frankly, I would like to thank her because all that she decided to go through prevented me from having to go through so many things. So many things. I
that's
had
kind
matter
of
of
like
fact,
that's
huh?
kind of like the lesson that you taught me. You told me to learn from your mistakes. That can be a quote that we never mind, because we be that would be
Yeah.
like a 4 hour show. But
Yeah.
you told me to learn from your mistakes, and I did.
I really, I really wanted you to. I really, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
proud of you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a now. Of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is the children and having 6 children with 3 women, and anybody that decide they want to judge me, you can come see me. I got something for you. But because my babies was not mistakes, okay,
Right,
my
right.
babies was not mistakes. But
Mhm.
I do I do appreciate and I am proud of you for not just deciding, yeah, I'm just gonna go willy nilly, you know, because you know what it was. You was in the car with me running back and forth to Philadelphia, and I appreciate you letting me cry sometimes for the first 30 minutes back. Oh man, good times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, some of my favorite times is when we you get sleepy and you fall asleep driving, and I just look at you while you were driving, and then you wake up, and then you look at me, and then go right back to driving.
So you know what? We should really just get back to the topic at hand. Really.
Well, I think it works though, because see, here's the thing though. You would fall asleep, and I would look at you. You would wake up. You look
Mhm.
at me, and I wouldn't offer to drive because clearly you needed to learn a lesson, but it hurt me more than it hurt you.
How? Tell me how.
I don't know, man. I think that was real arrogant of me to say.
Yeah, yeah. I figured that you just decided I'm gonna somehow squeeze this in here whenever there's a clear moment to say it, and you just said it, and it didn't particularly fit. But I'm not mad at you. I'm not gonna judge you. I'm not gonna judge you. I am curious though of another scenario in which this statement is being said. Right.
Okay.
So we got the parent to the child situation.
Hmm.
We have the intimate relationship. what other scenario does this actually fit? I can't think of. I'm not speaking slow because I got an idea and I'm trying to get into it. No, I don't know. I don't know what another scenario is. That's a
Oh,
genuine question. It's a
okay.
genuine question. What other scenario can you think of in which you would say valid statement? This is gonna
Um,
hurt me more than this gonna hurt you.
let me see. So I'm
What
thinking
about?
about.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
I'm
gonna say
still
what
getting my
about?
thoughts together. So go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say what about? No, what about between you and I, man to
Okay.
man, man to
Hmm.
man? What would be a situation where like like if you weren't the father that you are
Hmm. You
because
mean
of
if I
the
was like a
relationship,
deadbeat?
huh?
You mean if I was like a deadbeat?
Right.
Okay. Hmm.
If you weren't the father that you are, um, because well, I'll take a moment to tell you that you're an amazing father. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And
Hmm.
we got to hold each other up like that, not just cause, ooh, he just needs to hear it. Nah, son, you gets it done. You
Yeah,
gets
I
it done,
appreciate that.
and you could see it in the face of your son every time you look up at him because he's taller than you. So,
Don't get him knocked out because that's gonna hurt him more than it hurts me.
um, but, but I think it might. I think it might. But I'm saying, man, man, if you wasn't the father that you are,
Mm,
we couldn't be like as tight as we've been if you were to have Terrell and then not be the father that you needed to be to him.
mhm.
I would have to like I couldn't respect you,
Right. Mhm,
but I couldn't just I love you enough to tell you that I can't respect this
mhm.
and that this can't be something that I'm a part of. I can't sit and laugh with you knowing that you got a child that you're not taking care of.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And in that situation, I think maybe because of if you have a mind, because ain't nobody, you don't have a child, and you're if you're aware of the child, there's no way you should be able to sit and laugh or be comfortable in any circumstance if you're not tending to your child.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? There's no
Right.
way. There's no way. So in that situation, because of the mindset that comes with a deadbeat, I think it would hurt me more to have to tell you that we gotta disassociate because I can't be a part of you in this class B happiness that you're trying to cling to while you're not taking care of your child. And I
Mhm.
think, and if you are comfortable with not taking care of your child, then in that instance, I think it would hurt me more to have to tell you that I got to leave you alone than it would hurt you because you've already decided whatever pain you're going through ain't enough for you to change your ways.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because, of course, that ain't the case. But I'm gonna give you, but I'm gonna give you some pushback
Hmm.
based off of what you said earlier.
Hmm.
How do you know? How do you know this is hurting you more than it hurts me? Because the thing is this: if I'm not being the father that I'm supposed to be,
Hmm.
and I'm okay with that,
Hmm.
and the relationship that I have with you is important to me,
Hmm.
and you're taking that away from me, how do you know that what you're doing is hurting you more than it's hurting me?
Because the fact that I got to tell you about this situation that you are fully aware of, as a matter of fact, you're executing or not executing, rather, is why I have to come to you with this, right? And so I know that it's hurting me more because the pain that I feel brings me to you to tell you that I'm gonna have to disassociate. But the pain that you feel is not enough for you to change your ways and tend to your child.
Okay, so let's say this. If I'm not tending to my child, there's something that's off here with me. There's something that's missing. And um, there's a connection that I need. And maybe you are that connection. Who knows? Maybe you being in my life at some point makes me say, you know what? I do need to get myself together and be a better father. But by you taking that away from me, now I'm lost. I don't have that positive influence anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that I have looked to be a role model or just a positive influence is gone. Now I have no incentive to want to go and be there with my child, and I no longer have an example. So now not only am I hurting, but my child is going to continue to hurt. Where had you stayed in my life, then maybe, just maybe, I would have gotten myself together. I would have heard you at some point, because
Mm-hmm.
I may have needed you to be there to plant the seeds and then continue to water the seeds. But if you just planted the seeds and then walked away and never watered the seeds, well, now I'm hurting. I'm missing out, and so is my child.
True enough. In the way that there is still pain that's going to be present, right? But first of all, your motivation, and this may be a little idealistic as far as the view is concerned, but the motivation for you to tend to your child should not be external. It should come from in you, plain and simple. First of all, so me stepping away from that. Understand? Okay, the water can come from an external source, but that motivation to tend to your child should be inside of you, plain and simple. But still, for me to know the example that I set for you, right? For me
Mhm.
to know that you, because even if it was an individual, even if, and we're speaking hypothetically, okay, even if you didn't have your pops, right? Because we know who our fathers are. To
Right.
God be the glory. We thank God for our fathers being our
Absolutely.
fathers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But if you didn't have your father and I had mine, or vice versa, just to make it fair, right? The example that we have, that we set for one another in the fathers that we're being to our children, that if I know that I've told you, if I know that I've shown you, we've had conversations. You know what I mean? You've expressed an appreciation for the conversation. You've expressed the power of the conversation, or the strength that's been gained for the conversation, but it ends up just being words and you don't execute. Then for me to have to turn away, for me to have to back away, yeah, it's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me more, because if it hurts you at all to no longer have my influence, then now it is helping you. You understand? And so it's gonna hurt me. All I got to deal with is the pain until you come up out of it. So it's gonna hurt me more, because if you're saying that my absence is going to cause you pain, but if that pain is going to cause you change, then now it's become, now it's help. It's just like that. It's like that saying, you can't, you can only walk halfway into the woods, because once you get past that point, you're walking out of the woods,
Mhm.
right? So for you, you deal with that pain initially, but it becomes help because that pain motivates change. Then yeah, I'm dealing with the brunt of it. I'm dealing with the brunt
Unless
of it.
you're dealing with somebody who runs from pain. Because the thing is this, if I'm dealing with the pain of your absence, and I'm not at a point in my life where if I haven't reached a point of growth
Mm-hmm.
where pain causes me to grow, where I'm having these growing pains, and
Mm-hmm.
instead I run from pain, then I'm just going to retreat. And anything that reminds me of the void that is here now because you're gone, I'm going to try to get away from it. So if you're telling me that you can no longer be in my life because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in my child's life,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm definitely not dealing with my child, because my child is going to be a reminder of me no longer having you there. And I do agree with you that it should be something that's internal, but sometimes you need somebody to tell them. Sometimes you need somebody to tell you what's inside of you, because sometimes you can't always see it if you're looking out.
I agree with that. That's why I prefaced it with it being an idealistic view, right?
Okay, right.
So I agree with that, but I still think that my pain, I still think that in that instance, I would hurt more than you would hurt, because if you're running from pain, I'm here. I'm, now I'm looking after your son, my godson, right? I know that he wants you to be here. So now I got my pain for having to pull away from you. I am still hurting for you because you can't wrap your mind around what you need to do for your son. And I'm also hurting for my godson because his father isn't here. So I think in that situation, and given also coming from the perspective of an individual, just knowing truly who we are, I cannot, I cannot wrap my mind around the comfort or the concept of any comfort concerning a man that is well aware of the existence of his child and is making no effort to tend to that child.
Mhm.
I can't. I don't even. I mean, ultimately, I don't even care about what you're having to go through, because it doesn't mean more than what your child is having to go through. You know what I'm saying? So I still think that in that particular instance, it would hurt me more than it would hurt you, because the pain would come from more than one direction for me.
Um, but I think it would be coming from more than one direction for me too,
Okay.
because um, I'm losing you, and I'm losing, and I am. Let me see. How do I make this connection? Not necessarily losing my child. I mean, if I'm not there, I've already lost my child, or I've made
Mm-hmm.
a conscious decision to not try to find my child, or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
I've made a conscious decision not try to find myself with my child.
Mm-hmm.
But to make that decision, I feel like that comes from a place of pain. What I mean, and I could be wrong. I could be going a little too deep with that, but I honestly think when a parent is not there for their child, it's coming from something. There's a reason. There's a reason. Um, Not a justifiable one as far as I'm concerned, but a
Mm-hmm.
reason nonetheless. And but a lot of times I think that that is something that comes from a place of pain. You may have been a child that grew up without their father or without their
Mm-hmm.
mother, and now you are doing the same thing. It's a cycle. But growing up without that parent, that's painful. And I think in the back of your mind that it hurt you, it's probably hurting your child. So, but yeah, you're selfish. You're selfish at that point, and you're not doing the things that you know that you're supposed to be doing to break that cycle. So, but it's painful. But at the same time, it's like if I don't want to deal with that pain, I'm gonna act like it doesn't exist. I'm gonna run from it. And it may be this dark cloud that's above me. It could be just following me around, whatever. But at the same time, I'm trying my best to avoid that. So now I'm running from that pain, and I'm running from the pain of you no longer being there.
But that's just it. If you're running from the pain, you're avoiding the pain. You're not really experiencing it, right? And the truth be told, like, it doesn't, whatever it is, it's still less than what I feel, because I felt it enough to sever this relationship. You didn't feel it enough to change, or he doesn't feel it enough to change. So whatever level of pain that you feel, if it's not enough to face it, if it's not enough to change or enough to elevate, then it's not more than the pain of anyone involved, for that matter.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
it's go ahead.
no, I was about to say now, I was only playing devil's advocate because I agree with everything you're saying. I was just I was just offering another perspective.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it mind you, by along the same vein, by no means, if you're playing the devil, by no means am I playing God, right?
Right.
But you know what I mean, because we're not looking at the extreme opposition, right? But I'm
Mhm,
just saying that, I think in that particular scenario, I think that it would hurt me more. I think would be a valid statement in that scenario for me to say that this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. Um, and and to tell you the truth, another thing I guess about that is, I think if you say that to a person, I think that it does give them the opportunity, like you invite them to be cognizant of the pain that all involved are enduring. You
mhm,
know what I mean? And I think that because like you said, if you're somebody that runs from pain, and I make this statement, which says to you that here I'm holding my pain out in front of me, and I'm telling you to hold yours out in front because I think mine is going to be more. Let's make this comparison. And so
mhm,
I think it invites you to do that, to really think about your pain. Um, and I know I feel like right now I'm contradicting myself, but I'm thinking in that particular, because I was saying it before, this is a very arrogant situation, but that's why I
mhm,
say specific to this scenario. Um, and there may be other scenarios. I don't think that this is very valid from a parent to a child, but like man to man, I think this could be a valid statement. Um, in that way, it's asking you to be transparent, um, and to see see the pain within yourself, as well as the pain that I'm enduring. As a matter of fact, the pain that I would endure that you caused.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So, um, though the statement uh, speaks to a comparison, I think that it serves a greater purpose as a revelation to let us both really see, um, what see that the pain exists, to what degree it exists, and why it exists. You know what I mean?
mhm,
I think that it would definitely be more useful, or the full use of the statement would include those three things.
mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, so um, yeah, I still don't know about an intimate relationship.
I mean, I
It's
think with
applicable.
yeah, I just feel like the example that I used, I think
Mm,
it works. I think it works because yeah, I do think that the guy is or the woman. I mean, it could go both ways.
mm,
But the person who decides that, you know, I'm I know that I'm not good enough for you right now. And I
mm,
know that you are amazing. I'm going to be the one that's losing out. It's kind of like, when somebody gets dumped or cheated on or whatever, and their friends are telling them, um, uh, he or she won't know what they had until you're gone.
mm,
And that person is able to move on knowing I did things the right way. I was
mm,
faithful. I was the person that I was supposed to be in the relationship, and they weren't.
mm.
They are going to hurt more than me.
Okay,
They-
I,
They're
I I
going to
can
hurt more.
I can agree in that, because just like you said, basically it's not your fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you were the one to doing what you had to do, then I okay, I agree with that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't. yeah, I don't have any rebuttal for that. I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I ain't never told no woman that. I ain't never told no woman that. And listen, if I left her, then guess what? It's gonna hurt you a whole lot more than it's gonna hurt me.
Nah, I mean, I think that in any instance, the person, especially if you're blindsided, if you're the person that comes to the conclusion that you have to break up, and you're the one doing the breaking up, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the breaker, it, in the majority of situations, is going to hurt less than the breakee, if for no other reason than not being blindsided by, by the
Right.
situation. You know what I'm saying? So, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but yeah, and I guess I'm saying I can't really think of it like an intimate situation, but with my wife, it definitely hurt me more than it hurt her. And the evidence of the fact that it hurt me more than it hurt her for me to break up with her is because I couldn't move forward in another manner. I had to keep coming back to her. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew, like, yo, there isn't another way to go, and you just out here being a dummy. And to God be the glory. She took me back, but yeah, it definitely hurt me more. But I never said that to her.
Right.
Um, that's because I didn't have a good reason for leaving at all, ever.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't explain it. You know what I mean? But definitely, wow, wow, that really hits home. It definitely hurt me more
Mm-hmm.
um, than it hurt her.
And she probably
Jesus.
saw that. She probably saw that and realized that you were um you were moving in a way that didn't make sense, which is why you were able to still make this marriage work. And well, of course, this was before the marriage that you were doing that. Like once the marriage
Hmm.
came together, the marriage stayed together.
Right,
But
right.
prior to that, um, she was probably looking at you like, look at this dummy, this idiot, he running around here hurting himself. Like
She,
I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna let him come on back and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fix his little pain.
dude, the thing is, she really was like, she really knew. She knew good and well. She knew who she was. She's always known who she is, right?
Hmm.
So she knew what kind of idiot I was being, but it was the grace of God that nobody was able to step in and become an obstacle towards me coming back to my wife. Because, prior to her, you know me, man. I don't run laps. I don't run
Right,
laps on me. If I'm gonna go ahead and snap it in half, I'm gonna holler at you. You
right,
in the rear view getting smaller and smaller. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
this one here, it just kept, and I kept trying,
Hmm.
and it just kept, and I had to keep coming back. So it was definitely hurting me. Yeah, it was definitely hurting me more.
Hmm.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I don't appreciate you bringing that up like that. Not at all. No.
You brought that up. I ain't bring that up.
I don't appreciate you making me bring that up.
I'm sorry, but I will say this though, it
What's that?
hurt me a whole lot more than it hurt you to do that.
You know what? Really, you're just abusing it. Okay.
I am Mr. Beast.
It's okay though, because it's time to wrap up. It is time to
Yes, it
wrap up.
is.
So it's a good time to remind them of the reason for the entire conversation, in that this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. And I would say to the listener, think about that statement before you go ahead and throw it out there willy nilly. Really think about that. You know what I mean? Think about what we've said tonight and whether or not it truly is going to hurt you. And think about coming back, because we want to do more of these shows. Yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, man, you got to tune in next week when we talk about it's my turn to pick the quote.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we gonna talk about it ain't tricking if you got it.
It ain't tricking if You got it. You know what? I'm gonna need a week even to think about what that means. It ain't. Did y'all hear this, dude? It ain't tricking. If you got, can you? You know what? Look it up. Who said it? I want to know who said that first.
I want to know who said it first too, and I think it's going to be a lot of people, well, a lot of dudes is going to be a little upset or a lot of upset at what I have to say about them, but I don't care.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to wait till next week.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully y'all tune in next week.
yeah,
If you don't, we're gonna talk about you. Um, so, but thank you for joining us this week. And our first show, I think that we did an incredible job on this first show.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I think that we should go ahead and clap it up. Really, really. I think we did. Like I said, yeah, definitely. This first show was great.
Try not to clap too loud. I don't want to wake the wife up. So.
Yeah, or the kids for that matter, right? So we appreciate y'all tuning in to Quotes and Mirrors, words to reflect on. We forgot to say that earlier, and I think
I
that
know.
was
I
super
thought about it.
duper
I thought
dope.
about it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we got to say that was super duper dope. So we don't want to leave that out. That was definitely the words of my co-host. I say again, co-host Tyrell James. Yeah, I am your host. No. For real. It was a good time. I appreciate you inviting me to do this with you. I think the Quotes and Mirrors is something that is necessary and incredibly enjoyable, and I look forward to doing it next week. This is Uncommonterry, and I am ready to sign off. How about yourself, sir?
And this is Tyrell James. And I'm ready to sign off myself. So we were trying to figure out a way to end the show, right? How about this, right?
What's that?
And I quote, bye.
You know what? That goes on a high note. So you got to hit the stop recording button. So I say you do it while we laughing. You ready?
Okay. All right. Laugh, and I'm gonna hit the button. Okay.
Let's do it.